Hello. Okay, welcome back to social studies. It feels like it's been a little while since we've done social because we were so focused on our science last week, which was so much fun. And I'm excited to do our Zoom at 2 o'clock today as well. Okie dokie. So today, okay, actually, first of all, before you even start watching this video, make sure that you have sent to me, please, your questions at least for your crime scene in your group chat. And then I guess the same thing if you guys want me to share when we're doing, like, when you guys are sharing this with each other, if you want me to show the crime scene, then send it to me, or if one of you guys just wants to flip the screen, then you can do that too. And then, yeah, I'd love to have your questions so that we can, so everyone can try answering them after we see your crime scene and kind of like investigate it. So, okay, that's the first thing. Now, social studies. What we're doing today is we're going on to, we really only have like kind of like 3 more little things that we're doing in social studies for the year. The first one is Pillars of Democracy, which we're going to be doing today. And then like kind of for the next like little, it's like kind of like topic 1. So today, and then we're not doing this tomorrow, but then the next day, Sunday, I guess. And then so that's one thing, Pillars of Democracy. Then we're going to be doing the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which is like the biggest of the 3 things that we have left. And then we have methods of participation in a government, or like methods of participation in in a democracy. So those are the things, and that's it for social studies. So today we have a video, and I suggest that what you do is bring out, I don't know why it does that sometimes. It's so weird. Okay, so what I suggest that you do is bring out your visual journal, or at least like a piece of paper that you would have enough space to write Pillars of Democracy at the top. And then I just have some questions for you today based upon this video that we're gonna watch. So like a little bit of space to jot down these questions, and then you might have to rewatch the video a couple of times to then like fill the right stuff in. This shouldn't take up an entire page. It should be like, I don't know, maybe like half a page or something like that, because then we're going to also use another section. So this is kind of like 2 sections. So this is the first section, and then we're going to have another section, which is going to be the actual pillars of democracy. Today we're just doing an introduction into like what they are. Okay, so here we go. Alrighty. Pillars of democracy. Okay, and this is a great image because indeed there are 4 pillars of a democracy, which we're going to be learning about more so next time. All right, so I showed this image in the beginning of the day in our welcome morning message, and this is a political cartoon which shows democracy. Okay, democracy is being held up by these 4 pillars. Okay, well, what do you wonder about this image? What do you notice? Do you think there's maybe a message that the cartoon is trying to send? Like what do you notice about this? Like, what do you notice that is like holding up this democracy? Okay. You can just kind of like store this in your mind a little bit. You don't have to write this down at all. Just kind of to get us thinking. Okay. So we notice that these are like newspapers, right? So yeah, what is the cartoonist trying to tell us about this image? We're gonna talk about this a little bit later. Okay, then here's another political cartoon, and these are really common. So this is showing social democracy, and it's it says here, there are tremors in the, I think it says like in the, I don't know, something election year, in like in the inaugural or something election year. So there's tremors. Okay, look at these. Like, what do you notice about this cartoon? Do you think there maybe is a hidden message? Okay, so it says like the Labour Party of the UK. Here's Socialism of France. I don't know what this one says. I can't read it. But what do we notice? Okay, there's tremors, right? Like this is kind of like cracking. And then what's happening here? What are these leaders trying to do? Okay, we'll kind of talk a bit more about this as we go along. I just wanted to show these to you just as kind of to get ourselves thinking about these ideal pillars of democracy. Okay, so we're gonna watch this video.
The word democracy comes from the Greek
Okay,
words.
I'm just gonna pause for a second. Okay, we're gonna watch this video and then, oh no, why does it do this thing? Okay, there we go. Okay, so there's a couple of questions I'd like you to write down first. And then while we are watching the video, you're going to see that these are answered. So I suggest that you leave a little bit of space. Okay, so for this one, where does the word democracy come from? This is like, he's gonna say it pretty much right away. Okay, so you need like a line, not much for this one. The next one is, what was signed to say that even a king had to follow the rules and laws of a country? So what was signed? It's just one word. Okay, so you just need to leave like a space for this. Okay, so you might have to kind of pause and write this in to your page as I'm going along through this. The next one is, where are these laws and rules written? So where is it in a country that the laws and rules are written? There's a certain specific like technical name for where these are written. They do say this as well. This is just only one word. Okay, the next one is, what are the three powers democracy is divided into? What do each do? So this you need to leave a little bit more space for. I suggest you leave like one, maybe you want to do like 1, 2, 3. It's gonna be like word, 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 and then you can do a little arrow and write what each is, or like this way, and then write what each is, okay? So, or what they do. Okay, maybe you can want to draw like a little icon or something, but there's 3 of them. So this one needs the most space. Okay, next one, whoopsies. Okay, next one, oh, that was weird. Okay, next one is, what does checks and balance mean? Okay, so this one, what does checks and balance mean? Probably like a sentence we'll be writing for this one. The next one is, what is the general will? And why is that important? What does that mean? What does general will mean? And why is that an important thing to consider? The next one is, what is one problem of democracy? And then how is this protected? This is like modern day democracy. We'll get there by the end of the video. And then how is this protected? That's it. Okay. Alrighty, so let's watch.
The word democracy comes from the Greek words of demos, which means people, and kratos, which means power or rule.
There you go.
So democracy basically means the rule of the people.
Ta-da! First one.
Democracy first started as a direct democracy in Greek cities, notably ancient Athens, where people came together to speak about their concerns and opinions in front of rulers of the city-state, and directly voted on new rules and laws. Here is considered as the birthplace of democracy.
As we learned about.
For the very first time, decisions were made by the people instead of rulers. But sadly, the ancient Greeks did not see all people equally. Slaves, women, children, and the people who did not have a land were allowed to vote.
Right?
This is what we call a flawed democracy today. After the Greeks lost their power and influence in the 1st century AD, their early forms of democracy were also fading away until the Magna Carta was signed in 1215. Which prevented the King of England to do whatever he wanted and said that even the king had to follow the country's rules and laws, which were written in the Constitution.
Okay, there you go. Oh, okay, I'm just gonna pause there. So that was the 2 things. What was signed to say that even a king had to follow the rules and laws of the country? Did you get that? And then where are these rules and laws written? This one is basically something starts with an M, and this one starts with a C. Okay, those are my hints. You might have to go back and rewatch it.
Today, most democracies are indirect or representative, which means that you can't vote for a new law yourself, but you can vote for people who then become lawmakers and present your interests.
As we also learned.
But democracy isn't just about voting. It's about everything to protect the best interests of the people, no matter what is their race, gender, political opinion, or religion. These interests can be human rights, quality of life, infrastructure, and many more.
We're gonna learn about that later.
Modern democracies divide power into 3 different branches. The legislative, the people who make the law; the executive, the people who make sure that you obey the law; and the judiciary, who judge you if you commit a crime.
Okay, that's it.
These 3 are independent and work following the process, checks and balances, which means All the work must be clear and fair, and very important, the people who have power also must follow the law and not exceed their authority.
Okay, there you go. That was actually quite a bit. So we should have heard what the three different powers a democracy is divided into. Okay. And then what do each of them do? Okay. And then what does checks and balances mean? So this part, checks and balances, it's kind of like two different things, right? So it's a system to make sure that each of these three different powers are working as they should, and that they're not allowing one of them to overtake the other. So there's a check and there's a balance. They each have to make sure that they're kind of there to hold each other accountable and to make sure that each other does the right job, rather than like one person kind of like, I don't know, being greedy or like having too much power. Okay? So I basically just explained what checks and balances means. Okay. Next is we're listening for what is general will and why is this important? And then what is one problem of democracy? Okay.
In addition, a democratic government must work in a way that reflects the wish, feeling, desire, and values of the society that it governs. This is also known as the general will, which is a concept developed by the famous Swiss philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau. One of the problems of values of the society that it also must follow the law and not exceed their authority.
Okay, here comes general will.
In addition, a democratic government must work in a way that reflects the wish, feeling, desire, and values of the society that it governs.
Okay, so wish, feeling, desires. It must reflect the wish, feeling, desires of the community or the people that it represents.
This is also known as the general will, which is a concept developed by the famous Swiss philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau. One of the problems of democratic...
Okay, I didn't really say why is this important, but you can just answer that, like, why is it important that the general will and like the values and thoughts and beliefs of the people are considered? Like, why is that an important thing?
Is that the biggest groups of people always have the most power.
Okay, sorry. This is now the one problem.
One of the problems of democratic voting is that the biggest groups of people always have the most power. And that's why a good democracy also has laws to protect the rights of its smaller and weaker groups. A democracy where the majority chooses to separate, expel, or injure its minority is not a functioning democracy. So, what do you think now about democracy? Winston Churchill once said, "Democracy is the worst form of government, except for all those other forms that have been tried from time to time." Do you agree?
Okay, there we go. Okay, so that was quite a bit of stuff. So you might need to rewatch this. And then, yeah, like I said, the most important one, we're gonna be going back and talking about all of these again, but this is just kind of like a little bit of a review and then I guess like preview of democracy. Good stuff. Okay. So that's it. Whoa, what's going on here? Okay, there. So that's it for social studies today. Yeah, you might need to watch that a couple times, and then we're gonna continue on with the same lesson again tomorrow, or not tomorrow, on Sunday. Okay, so I don't need you to take a picture of this. I don't need you to send this to me or anything. We're gonna be doing that was just kind of like our warm up. So we'll be doing more in the coming week. Okay, good job.